Well, today marks the 15th anniversary of the launch of what was originally called the Facebook. Now, of course, we know it as just Facebook. Harvard student Mark Zuckerberg and several of his classmates started the site in 2004. Now, the social media site boasts nearly 2.3 billion monthly active users. But it has been a rocky road since the site's inception. So, Dan Patterson is a senior producer for CNET, and he joins us now to talk more about this. What's up?
Good morning.
So let's start with the evolution of Facebook. How has the network changed over the last 15 years?
All right, let's get in our time machine. Flashback 15 years. The word social media did not exist when Facebook started its rollout. And if we recall, the rollout didn't happen for everyone. It was at college campuses. So Facebook built on exclusivity while the rest of the world was dominated by, if you'll recall, MySpace on the top 8, right? You would select your favorite friends, and before MySpace, Friendster. Right.
Yeah.
We also had these open source technologies called RSS and OPML, and this was the newfangled way of moving data around. Well, now RSS powers podcasting, and Facebook has kind of folded all of those other technologies that were once open into their own proprietary fold slowly over the last decade and a half.
They killed MySpace. They killed Google+, which was an attempt to sort of knock them off.
Yeah.
Anything they couldn't kill, they basically absorbed, like
Snap.
Instagram and Snapchat. How have they changed the way we interact with each other?
So we say this all the time, but Facebook is not just a destination website. It is not just the big blue app on your phone, as they call it. Facebook is a platform. So everything that was or interesting, novel, or cool, Facebook has found a way to adopt. So Instagram, for the young people, Facebook for the old people, WhatsApp for international, because you can text and you can message in ways that are across not just SMS carrier lines. Now, what's really interesting is that we see Facebook move into a visual future. So they acquired Oculus for $1.1 billion a few years ago. And Zuckerberg, as well as his lieutenants, have said on a number of occasions that Facebook's future might be right here in front of your face, as opposed to a timeline that we scroll through.
Okay, aside from the data privacy, I mean, how likely is this data privacy issue going to impact the company?
This is a fascinating component of the Facebook narrative. They were darlings of Silicon Valley, darlings of their model, determine how not just you run a company, but how you raise funds, what you do with competition. They borrowed from Microsoft. Do you build, do you borrow, or do you destroy your competition? So Facebook had a long run of success, and then it hit this kind of weird, not really wall, because it didn't halt their growth, but this stumbling block of data privacy. We see that from the earnings call last week, look, Facebook continues to build and to grow and to make money, but data privacy is going to hound them, because it was very clear that for years and years and years, the Facebook platform was not just for sale, but it was kind of open to anyone who wanted to stick their fingers in and either pay for data or to maybe acquire through some tricky means like Cambridge Analytica did with quizzes and tests. So data privacy might just be maybe not something that destroys Facebook, but a millstone that continues to drip and grind against them for years and years and years.
And I guess moving forward, another one of its challenges is going to be exactly what is it? Because, you know, we talked about social media, but it is a media. It's not a platform anymore. It's sort of bigger than that. And they've had to wrestle recently with, you know, the live streaming and the sort of things that people live stream. What if you live stream a murder? All these sort of ethical questions that I don't think they ever considered 15 years ago.
So what's fascinating, Anne-Marie, is that if we take Facebook as a technology platform, and as they've often asserted, hey, we're just a platform, we're neutral, we can't help what the users do with the tools they give them. Well, if somebody walked into CBS News, turned cameras on, and started doing horrible things, somebody would say, you're kind of accountable for those cameras, for your building security. How did you let somebody just wander in there in front of a camera, right? So although it's technology, although it's new and novel, that maybe doesn't alleviate Facebook from this, again, millstone of responsibility. And who determines how the platform is responsible. It's kind of up to the public,
Yeah.
but we are kind of figuring out a new set of norms, and Facebook has to figure that out alongside with us, not just to us.
Yeah.
So how will the company look in the next 15 years? I think you asked a question about this earlier, Anne-Marie. I mean, is there some level of a relationship that the user has with Facebook that is incumbent on the user to be aware of some of these issues? In other words, maybe the analogy is not so similar where you say, look, we know that fast food is bad for you, but if you eat fast food all the time, you can't go and sue that company when you find out that you have onset diabetes or you have heart disease, because you shouldn't be eating that food every day. I guess my question is, if I want to disconnect from Facebook, but I want to use Instagram, what is my liability?
Yeah, right. So where is the onus of responsibility? So I'm not a lawyer, obviously, but I think that there will come a time, maybe sooner than later, where we look at the psychological graphing that Facebook does. So when I say psychological graphing, I mean that graphing meaning a projection of their tools. So those little red notifications that you see all the time, or the content in your news feed. So they've put significant time and energy into building these systems that some call addictive. I don't know that I'm calling them that, but some call them this. So what Facebook will have to reckon with, at least in the short term, is transparency over how the algorithm determines the content that you see and how often you're notified, and maybe the dopamine or serotonin hit this gives your brain. That's in the very short term. In the longer term, Facebook and all of us will have to reckon with what we call the Internet of Things. So technology is moving away from these screens that we have in front of us into the world around us, and we interact with these technologies through our voice and through gestures. So Facebook will have to contend with entirely new types of privacy and new types of concerns that consumers might have more quickly than we would have anticipated.
This is
Really
it's so fascinating to me. It's so, I know I say this all the time, but it's so Black Mirror.
It is. Kind of very Black Mirror-ish. Dan Patterson, thank you, my friend.
Good to see you.